yeah. Yeah, here's this. I'm not sure how it...
Hi there.
It was fine, I think.
I can see that we are all spread around, and I will really invite you to come together. And if you can, please raise from your chairs over there, and over there, and over there, and come together, please. My name is Alex Pereira. I'm not just the director of Children and Youth Ashoka. Thank you. Thank you. I'm also the lead of the Faith-Inspired Change-Making Project from Ashoka. We are part of a global project that had been launched in 2021, and this project had already happened in English, in Spanish, in Philippines, and part of Asia. What we are looking for here is to build a different approach on the way we engage change makers. And with this idea that I strongly believe with my dear friend Daniel Hall, that regenerative culture starts by intervening together, this idea that we are a collective and we cannot do this by our own. I'm a part of that 1% that owns only the spirit to change. I'm not part of that 1% that owns 99% of the richness, but I'm that part that, since I was very young, that intervened to fight against degeneration. Let me tell you a story that when I was very young, that I had an intervention around 15, 16 years in the Tagus River. We have, and we're still having, this huge pollution situation. And what inspires me, at that moment I didn't know yet, what inspires me, what leads me to intervene was the inspiration to change the system, to protect the environment. And every time we see this convergence of crises, the raising of temperatures, the global conflicts, or the raising level of the waters nearby, here at our home door, we see that this convergence of crisis needs to stop. And the question was, what the panel before me was analyzing is, how can we solve this systemically? And all the panels here during these 3 days of conversation will focus on this regenerative vision. How can we approach this? So let's get back to the earth. In the age of 13, I had received an award for my first design project. It was a logo for the Environmental Day, and my gift was a book from this man that keeps inspiring me in my walk to the talk every day. And I don't know if you know this animal. If someone knows this animal, I learned the name of this animal from my father. The question is, I see the nature and the relation I have with the nature from the deep connection of my heart as equals. But my father, he sees it from a different perspective. And he used to talk that every time we see these documentaries of David Attenborough, how nice this animal will be in my dish. So I knew that the name of this animal is palanca, and it's probably one of the animals that are disappearing as well in the Africa regions. What we need to do is to focus on regeneration, from the dish to the planet, to populate again the oceans with fish, and to change this paradigm from ego to eco. So when we start the project, I was diving in this, looking for what inspires me, what should lead my action into the world. And I would like to ask you here in this room, how many people feel in some level, somehow, in some way, that they are inspired by faith? Just raise your hand, just like that. Good. So let me say that the number of people inspired by faith around the world in this study that Ashoka had assessed is 53% of people that are engaged in change-making somehow inspired by faith. So what we look for is to not necessarily work with the 53%, not even the change makers, because I believe most of you here are change makers, right? How many of you are change makers? Can you raise your hand, please? Okay, somehow the change makers are a bit higher. What we're looking for is precisely that 1%. The 1% I always been. I believe this 1% is the ones who can make this systemic change. In this program, that's what we're looking for, from local to global, acting systemically to raise this awareness. As Bill Drayton said, the founder of Ashoka in the 80s, it's not about to give people the instrument to fish. It's not even about to give people or to teach people techniques of fishing. It's to revolutionize all the fishing industry. So that's why we are now in this vision of believing everyone a change maker. Since the 80s, Ashoka, that is present in 95 countries, with the network of 4,000 fellows. One of these fellows that has been responsible for the cards you hold in your hands. This is the work of Miguel Neiva, the Girls Move that has also participating here, and my other colleague that will speak after me is also related with this project. The project that is integrating migrants are all projects of fellows. Why are we working now with faith? Let's think about this. Why are we focused on faith change makers? Edward Muller said, we need also to focus on spirituality to take action. We need to focus on this idea of the Ashoka's vision that everyone's precious, everyone's powerful, everyone a change maker. And why are we doing it in Portuguese language? Because we are 250 million people that speaks Portuguese all around the world. And this is data collected from Wikipedia, another project from an Ashoka fellow. So the most of the countries in the Portuguese language are highly inspired by faith, any kind of faith. We are not distinguished here what kind of faith. So what did Ashoka decide to do with this program? Launch a masterclass inviting people from different faiths, change-making agents that are doing already in their field projects, initiatives, and they are launching these projects to respond systemically with solutions for social, environmental, economic, and cultural problems that we saw before. The first moment we were listening and learning with these co-creators, people that are engaged with different communities of faith. The next step will be the masterclass, building a new identity with this, generating a strong movement of faith-inspired change makers. And this will generate in the second phase new narratives with their projects. So we are now, in this precisely moment, launching the masterclass that will be in November. And our main goal is to support this community of faith-inspired change makers, to stimulate them, to communicate together, to build up community with a learning community instead of just delivering content, but putting them together, collaborating, co-creating this movement. And my dream would be that somehow this 1% could grow till the 53%. The dream is that we can somehow engage the 53% inspired by this 1% of faith-inspired change makers to change the world. And what we are looking here is for new KPI. I see here some economists, maybe they will think KPI in the whole sense, which is okay. But what we want is to keep people inspired. What we want is keep people informed. What we want is keep people innovating for change making. And independently of their faith, what we really would love is to walk with faith for common good. So, thank you, and I hope that you become also a change maker very soon, because we strongly believe everyone a change maker. Thank you. I will present now Raneem Diab, that is co-founder of the Mobadarat NGO for Social Development.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for everyone who is here. Thank you for the inspiring words that you shared. This is what youth need to hear. This is what older generation need to hear. And this is why we are here, to inspire and get inspired.
So, Raneem, you are a political scientist and an international affairs specialist from Lebanon, with a strong interest in incorporating more women and youth in policy-making processes, with a focus on migration, peace and security, and biosphere consciousness. You believe in positive actions no matter how small they might be. You are part of the Gender Equality Circle, and in 2022 edition of Movers, you are attending the Lebanese American University and Science Po. So the stage is yours now.
Thank you, Alexander. Hello, Planetiers. Hello, everyone. Today, I'm here to take you on a journey with me. I would love to take you with me to another world, or how I imagine a world that works for just about everyone can be. I think we are in the perfect, brave, and safe space to envision new worlds and new possibilities. Have you thought of that recently? How does a world that works for everyone looks like for you? Well, to me, that is a world of equality, a world where every girl and woman are given the same opportunities as men. One in which no girls nor women are cut out from school, forced to be married, and mothers at a young age. No girls and no women are abused, reduced, or discriminated against. It's a world of fairness, in which women are free to choose their own paths, break free from past conventions, seen in the diversity of their skills, roles, and dreams, aware, comfortable, and proud of their essence. And it's a world of balance that creates the space for women to have a legitimate, esteemed, and rightful seat at the table. Women as leaders at all tables, because it's equal, fair, and balanced. My imagined world is a prosperous, beautiful, and sustainable one. The ripple effects of women empowerment are vast and well known. I'm Raneem Diab, a political scientist from Lebanon, a country ranked 145 out of 153 countries as per the WEF Gender Gap Report 2020. In Lebanon, unfortunately, women are seriously underrepresented at all levels of political and business leadership. Now, I have been volunteering and working in the fields of NGOs, diplomacy, journalism, and business since I was 9 years old. And one of the common things that I face is having to work 10 times more than my male peers to prove that I am more than a sweet face. I had to be a perfectionist beyond limits and hold tightly to a serious character and always work overtime, sometimes up to 18 hours a day. Following that pace, we as women could rarely progress to lead. And once I was given the empowering support since the beginning from my inspiring aunt, Fatima Khalil, whom is known to me as Iron Woman, I became this restless, humanitarian, young female leader working to drive positive change in my country, making it one step closer to my world, to Raneem's world, if you'd like. As my first idol, my aunt Fatima Khalil, she would let the 9 years old me job shadow her at her work as the head of Ministry of Social Affairs, Social Developmental Center in Bayseri, Lebanon. And without that kind of mentorship, I believe I would have not been able to unravel my purpose of empowering women. In this process of developing women empowerment purpose, I have proudly become a mover. Movers is a game-changing movement led by Girl Move Academy that aims to reshape the paradigm of leadership worldwide, making it more humane and inclusive, while tackling the most pressing challenges of our time, being one of them, of course, gender inequality. Movers gathered an impressive 8,000 applications from girls from all corners of the world and selected 80 of us for a first journey of transformation. To start with my circle, I was introduced to all sorts of soul-crushing realities, so to speak. In Brazil, the lack of access to information and education on female-related health issues, the patriarchal system of Nepal, where women are devoid of their rights and have no access to information on their sexual and reproductive health rights. The circumstances in Malawi, where girls miss 3 days of school every single month due to poor menstrual health and hygiene, and where over a third of women aged 15 to 49 years old report having experienced physical violence. The shocking teenage pregnancy figures in Uganda, where 1 in 4 teenage girls are pregnant or already have a child. The school rates in Nigeria, where girls account for nearly 60% of out-of-school children due to child marriages, poverty, and discriminatory social norms. The underrepresentation of women in the fields of STEM in Costa Rica or Tanzania, with only 25% of women holding tech jobs and girls comprising only 10% of students earning degrees in computer science. More soul-crushing realities, the South African reality, a country where pregnant women and moms who've recently given birth are still discriminated against in the corporate world. And Panama, where 86% of indigenous population live in extreme poverty and indigenous women's rights are simply not recognized. You get the global picture. We are far away from my imagined world. But movers opened a new pathway, a pathway of hope for all of us. My sisters and I were introduced to Girl Move Academy's methodology, which last year received UNESCO's Prize for Girls and Women's Education. This methodology is based on a key pillar, the creation of intergenerational circles of girls and women that connect vulnerable targets with reference models to address a specific challenge. Sisterhood circles and safe spaces where girls are empowered to aspire to greater possibilities for their lives by being exposed and in deep connection to models who inspire them. In Mozambique, where Girl Move started and operates, girls and women don't have equal opportunities to access education and fully participate in society, which is due to many factors, such as child pregnancies or marriages that lead to early school dropouts. With a focus on keeping girls in school, Girl Move has been creating circles that connect primary school girls with university graduated women as their reference models. Throughout the years, Girl Move has impacted over 10,000 girls and women, increasing school transition from 30% to 90%, and decreasing child marriage and early pregnancies from 45% to 2%. In other words, a new pathway of hope for all of us. So, for the last couple of months, my sisters and I have been testing this approach in our own realities, in our own countries. Our goal is to create a new generation of female leaders through intergenerational mentoring and sisterhood, through a collective sense of intergenerational responsibility. Now, imagine a world made up of millions of circles, women coming together to support, uplift, hold hands, mentor, and inspire each other in all spheres of human activity, in politics, business, education, and health. Imagine that every single girl on the planet has access to a reference model that expands their horizons and their possibilities, showing them a different future, a better future. Imagine that the place that you are born in, especially that I'm born in a struggling country, Lebanon, that place no longer determines who you are going to be because you are exposed to global possibilities. Just imagine. And imagine how embracing this intergenerational responsibility can enable the growth and development of the reference models themselves, who are able to make more informed and precise decisions, becoming more purposeful leaders. This is what moving the world for good is all about. One step closer to an equal, fair, and balanced world. So now I'd like to invite you to go back to my initial question. What does a world where everyone has a reference model look like for you? And the most importantly is, what do you think can be your role in it? Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Raneem. I don't know if we still have here around some minutes if you want to talk about or change any idea about what we spoke together, about this idea of working as change makers for common good, because I think we have many, many topics that we work together. Actually, Girls Move is raised or was created by a Portuguese fellow, I must say. So this is an honor to have you here also with us in this panel and listening from you. So I don't know if you want to say anything else about what you listened first and connect what you bring with your vision.
Absolutely. Thank you for this chance. I'm totally honored, and it's my pleasure to be sharing my own experience with you, the precious experience with Girl Move Academy, the academy and the program of movers that did not only target our goals and results of women empowerment and working on SDG 5 of gender equality, but also it targeted us. It worked on us on a personal level. The change makers, when we always talk about making a change and being the positive change we want to see in the world, which is amazing, sometimes we forget the person. We focus on the end result. So what I always appreciate and I find very precious about Movers and Girl Move Academy, not only the support, the huge and amazing support of the Mind Masters and gorgeous team, but also the fact that they specifically work and positively develop the character and the intuition and the inside purpose of every girl in the circle. So that is something very precious. And out of all the programs that I've been in, this is the first time I see teams working on the person themselves, which I think adds to the sustainability of projects and the sustainability of purpose. So whenever we feel that we are having certain doubts about the world, we remember this team who supports us, and they always say this word: we are here for you, we support you. So I wanted to add that and share that personal experience with Girl Move Academy. And whenever we ask for change, let's pay attention to the change makers themselves and take care of the change makers' personal development as well along the journey of conquering the bad in the world.
Do you have any question for me? You want to make
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. I enjoyed listening to what you talked about, the spiritual aspect, and when we are making change, we need some kind of empowerment. So I wanted to ask, was there a certain experience where you felt it was a deal breaker for you when you depended and gained strength from a certain incident, a certain event, a certain personal experience that gave you strength, which would at the same time inspire us? And someone out there who might be passing through the same obstacle can learn from your experience.
Well, I will try to be not too extensive on that, but I think my presentation in the beginning explains what touched me when I was a very young kid living by natural systems that threaten and still being threatened by the degeneration. I show you the fishing die there. So for me, is regenerate the whole region where we're living in, Tagus River, because this is a sanctuary. And that's the spiritual part of this. And I really assume it, because this sanctuary is a sanctuary for birds that come from all over the northern part of Europe. And they fly to the southern part of the globe, to Africa. If we take this sanctuary from them, we are killing the possibility for them to strive. And when I was a young kid, I didn't know why I'm doing this. Now I know. I know because I'm a change maker. And to be a change maker is also to inspire other change makers. In my case, I'm a faith-inspired change maker, and I'm really pleased to be here with you. So thank you so much for your question, and thank you so much for Planetiers to invite us to be partners of this amazing event. In the name of Ashoka, thank you so much.